Hey, definitely like and subscribe. Sorry about the bright light behind me. Um, we're going to get into this video. It's amazing what's going to be unreal. Please like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. And you're going to love the content. Check out some of my other videos on my page. I have sports videos, political videos, and soothing animal videos. I do a lot of great boxing commentary. Let's watch this video now.
The president.
Back off. No comment. No comment.
Leaving the world, even the former president, with questions that needed answers.
How did somebody get on that roof, and why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof.
Now, in a shocking turn of events, the family of the shooter who tried to assassinate Donald Trump stepped into the spotlight with a series of revelations, piecing together the puzzles surrounding the incident that rocked the nation. Will they finally provide answers to what drove their son to such a shocking act? Are there secrets this family has been hiding? And most importantly, would there be implications for these revelations? We're about to find out. Trump shooter's family apologizes and reveals everything. July 13th, 2024 would go down as a significant day in history. The world came close to witnessing the assassination of a former United States president and now Republican nominee for the coming elections.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down, see him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
While speaking to his audience at a rally in Pennsylvania, a bullet whizzed past Donald Trump's head, nicking him on the ear and drawing blood in the process, before the Secret Service successfully whisked him off the podium and escorted him to safety. Unfortunately, Corey Compatore, a spectator, was killed while shielding family members from the gunfire, and 2 others were shot but survived before the perpetrator was shot and killed by security services.
Shooters down. Are we good to move? We're clear. We're clear.
Not long after, the shooter was identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks. However, as details about the shooter began to emerge, the story surrounding the incident is becoming more perplexing than anyone could have imagined.
Assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump on July 13th is the most significant operational failure of the Secret Service in decades.
Now, things get more interesting as Crooks's parents have revealed some pretty eye-opening details about the shooter and what may have led to the tragic incident. Things first started taking a complex turn when it was revealed that the shooter's parents had contacted the police on the day of the shooting. On July 13th, 2024, Matthew Crooks and his wife, Elizabeth, called the police before the Saturday shooting because they were concerned about their son, especially as they were unaware of his whereabouts. According to them, they believed he was missing since he disappeared without any advance notice. While it is unclear when the call was made, it was definitely before the shooting. The call is one of several red flags that were revealed, as it indicated that law enforcement was duly notified before gunshots rang out at Trump's Pennsylvania rally on Saturday. Another shocking revelation that was made by Crooks's parents was that the AR-style rifle used by Thomas in the attack had been legally purchased by his father. To fully understand the implication of this revelation, it is important to step back in time to December 2012, when 20-year-old Adam Lanza took his mother's AR-style rifle and opened fire inside Sandy Hook Elementary, killing 27 people, including himself. Following the shooting, gun sales in America exploded, partly fueled by the threat of a fresh ban on the assault weapons that were deemed the firearm of choice for some of the country's most infamous killers. Among 2013's gun buyers was Matthew Crooks, who had a son in elementary school at the time. He had legally purchased an AR-style rifle that fired 5.56mm rounds. A decade later, and his own son, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks, armed himself with that same rifle atop a roof in Butler, Pennsylvania, and fired it 8 times in an apparent attempt to assassinate former President Donald Trump.
She kind of took a few steps back to see exactly what was going on, and we seen the shooter at the bottom of the roof trying to kind of army crawl up the roof.
That was also all. The shooter's family also revealed that they had an interest in shooting, and the family owned more than 20 legally purchased firearms. All of these firearms were kept in the family house. In fact, Thomas and his father are understood to have been members of Clairton Sportsman's Club in Clairton, Pennsylvania. The club is set in 180 acres of woodland and has a membership of more than 2,000 members. It also has facilities, including indoor and outdoor archery ranges, rifle ranges to 200 yards, pistol ranges, and dog training areas. This once again mirrors the pattern found with another infamous shooter, Ethan Crumbley, who carried out the Oxford High School shooting that ended the lives of 4 students. The Crumbley had a deep interest in firearms and owned 3 handguns. It was reported that Jennifer Crumbley, the mother of the shooter, had even written a letter to Donald Trump congratulating him on his win in 2016, while also thanking him for supporting her right to bear arms. Even though they knew he was weird, she and her husband went ahead to purchase a Sig Sauer 9mm semi-automatic handgun for her 15-year-old son. The same gun would be used in the shooting that ended the lives of 4 students and forever shattered the lives of the surviving victims. Another revelation from Crooks' family came after officers discovered explosives in their son's vehicle that was parked close to the rally site. However, more shocking was the fact that investigators discovered and removed from the Crooks family home. All of these revelations are not only disturbing, but also add a whole dimension to the conversations on gun violence in the United States and the roles of parents in their children's crimes. Were Thomas Matthew Crooks's parents aware of his plans? One question that has been on the minds of everyone since these revelations were made is this: were the shooter's parents aware of his plans? There is no clear-cut answer to this, especially as the FBI is still carrying out investigations to find out the shooter's motive. So far, his family seems to be complying with the investigations. However, Thomas Crooks is being described as a lone wolf who acted entirely on his own, at least until a motive is discovered. At first, his family declined to speak to the media following news that their son had been the shooter behind the assassination attempt.
Why would your son want to kill the president?
Back off!
No comment.
No comment!
However, 53-year-old Matthew Crooks, who worked as a licensed behavioral
Why is she still wearing a face diaper? That's totally weird. What does she think? She's going to catch a cold or a virus, or she's hiding her face? I'm not sure which.
therapist specializing in rehabilitation, eventually opened up and said he was still trying to figure out what the hell is going on, but said he would wait until I talked to law enforcement before speaking about his son.
We have no comment. We just want to try to take care of ourselves right now. So please, give us our space.
Despite the fact that Crooks's parents, by present indication, seem to have no idea what their son had planned, many are left wondering how any of the signs he showed leading up to the incident weren't detected by his parents. First, his internet search history in the months and days leading to the attack was quite bizarre. In April, he had searched websites for information on major depressive disorder and depressive crisis treatment. On the day of the shooting, investigators found an image of the arrest photo of Ethan Crumbley on his primary cell phone, along with information about Crumbley and his parents.
I don't know how his parents are supposed to be aware of this photo on his cell phone when he had it with him, and how they're supposed to go over his search history every single time he leaves the house. It's a little bizarre what they're reaching for. I'm not saying his parents didn't know about the crime, but they're reaching for straws right now without factual evidence of any of them admitting or even a preponderance of circumstantial evidence that's proven to be a set of conclusive facts. That is not right now the case.
Who were both found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, the first time parents of a school shooter have been prosecuted. 3 days after the Trump campaign announced the rally in Butler, Western Pennsylvania, Crooks also made numerous searches online for well-known political figures like the FBI Director Christopher Wray, Princess Catherine of Wales, and Attorney General Merrick Garland. That was not all. He also searched for the date and location of the Democratic National Convention, which takes place in August in Chicago, and for the location of the Trump rally. He also searched for information on Trump, President Joe Biden, and other major political events. One emerging theory by investigators about his online trail, based in part on the timing and subjects of his online searches, is that the shooter wasn't solely targeting Trump. He just had the desire to carry out a mass shooting, and the Trump event's proximity and timing offered the most ready opportunity.
How did somebody get on that roof, and why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof.
On the day of the rally, Crooks made several internet searches, including for photos of the location of Trump's speech and for a local gun store not far from his home where he purchased bullets that day. Some sources also alleged that Crooks had also left a message on the gaming platform Steam in which he said, "July 13th will be my premiere, watch as it unfolds." However, that was eventually discovered to be a hoax. While it's easy to dismiss the negligence of his parents on this count since most parents barely access their kids' phones, other discoveries raised alarm. For instance, investigators recovered rudimentary explosive devices from his car, along with a bulletproof vest, additional magazines of the type he used in the attack, and a drone he flew on the rally site just before the shooting. This begs the question of whether or not his parents knew he had made those purchases. He lived with them in their home, so how was he able to purchase all of these items without his parents not noticing at all? At the family home, investigators also recovered 14 firearms and additional explosives.
You know what's not being told? How did that firearm get on the roof? Did he carry it with him in pieces in the bag? His knapsack? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, he was stopped by police when he had a rangefinder. He was also in I think, BlackRock or Vanguard, I'm not sure which one, commercial. And, there was a put option to short Trump stock of 12 million shares of Austin Private LLC, which I podcasted on my earlier video and showed the photo of the Austin Private LLC, 12 million shares short put option. The company Austin LLC is owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, Andrew Soros, George Soros' son, Bush Cheney, and that's a lot of stock. That's billions of dollars. If Trump would have died, they said that the stock was going to crash the next morning. Of course, Austin Private LLC disappeared from the entire stock market, and the FBI doesn't feel to look into that, or Financial Bureau Investigative Crime Bureau, the FCC, or it's kind of weird how nobody's speaking about this more. And he was not a bullied kid. He was in a BlackRock Vanguard commercial smiling. He was smiling with his other students. And it's funny, they keep showing this picture of him 2 years ago when he looks like a transvestite now. And that would be a bad narrative for the LGBTQ transvestite movement if we showed a photo of what he looked like. With his makeup on, his lipstick, his eyeshadow, his glasses pulled to the bridge of his nose, his hair all to the side, and looking like you couldn't tell if he was a girl or a guy.
Along with a second cell phone, a laptop, and a hard drive. Again, how was a 20-year-old living under the same roof with his parent able to hide explosives in the home without his parents ever once being aware? He built 3 homemade bombs, 2 of which were found in his car and another in his home. So, is it possible that the parents in those times were never aware he was building something right under their roof? In the preceding months, Crooks had even received multiple packages, including some marked as possibly containing hazardous material. And again, it is hard to believe that his parents never once noticed any of those bizarre deliveries. While there's yet to be information on what the Crooks family dynamics are like, people are of the opinion that both his parents, who are licensed behavioral therapists, should have noticed something was gravely wrong with their son.
He was just quiet, and I've never noticed anything off. I mean, he was just a normal kid to me, walking around the neighborhood. I mean, he was just a bit odd, that's all.
Those who knew Thomas Crooks in high school described him as a loner who was always isolated. Again, another red flag that is hard to miss. And with parents who were behavioral therapists, they should have known something was amiss. He was also described as a Republican with conservative political leanings. A classmate recalled participating in a mock debate in a course they took.
He was a registered publican, could have been thrown off. He donated to a Democratic Party. That he actually donated his cash to. So that's not being said.
Took together, where their teacher posed questions on government policy and had students stand on opposite sides of the classroom to signal their support or opposition. According to him, the majority of the class was on the liberal side, but Thomas, no matter what, always stood his ground on the conservative side, which made it very bizarre how and why he would carry out an assassination attempt on the conservative candidate. Again, on the day of the shooting, Crooks's parents had contacted the police to report him missing and were concerned for his well-being. Judging from the descriptions used for Thomas, he didn't appear to be the type of kid who would make spontaneous decisions like not going home or contacting his parents. This behavior, once again, should have raised suspicions about a troubled young man on the loose. Overall, there's also the question of the true intent of Crooks's parents' call to the police. Did they call the police right before the shooting shooting because they were simply worried he was missing? Or did they call the police because they had an idea of their son's motive, hence the need for the police call so he could be found before things escalated? All of these burning questions have not.
Or they could cover their ass by calling the police and say, oh, we're concerned, we called the police, knowing about the assassination attempt, to cover their ass.
Yet been solved with an answer. Until then, there will always be speculations about what truly happened. With the shooter dying with his motive, all we have left is a pile of mysteries that may take a while to solve. Implications of Crooks' parents' revelation. There's no denying that the Crooks family revelations may have serious implications, most of which could be legal. In fact, a lot of people believe that they may go to jail, especially as parents are now being legally held responsible for the crimes of their child. Under Michigan law, parents of a child who violates firearm-related laws on school property or in a school vehicle can be held criminally liable if the parent knew the child's intentions or furthered their actions. In a rare move,
how old is this kid? Is he past 18? You can't charge the parents.
The parents of Ethan Crumbley were charged after it was discovered that the 9mm Sig Sauer handgun used in the shooting was purchased by the suspect's father days before. The firearm was purchased, effectively for their son, and he was present for the sale. That gun was supposedly stored, unlocked in a drawer at the Crumbley home. Even when a teacher observed the suspect searching for ammunition on his cell phone and alerted school officials, they were unable to reach his mother. When she finally was available, instead of reaching out to the school with an explanation, Jennifer Crumbley allegedly texted her son, LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught.
While you were running away from your son and your responsibilities, I was forced to do the worst possible thing a parent could do. I was forced to say goodbye to my medicine.
Again, school officials advocated the troubled teen be taken off the school grounds into counseling on the day of the shooting after a teacher found a disturbing drawing with him. His parents were called to school and they refused the idea of letting their son leave the school. That same day, he went ahead to murder 4 people. Jennifer and James Crumbley were charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter on Friday. Both parents were sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison as a move that showed that parents who were gun owners would now be held responsible for their children's crimes, since they had a responsibility to ensure their firearms were secured.
It is the sentence of this court, Ms. Crumbley, that you serve 10 to 15 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections. You will have credit for 858 days.
This comes after a review of 105 school shootings committed by minors from 1999 to 2018, in which 84 instances showed that the origin of the weapon used was either being taken from the child's home or a relative's or friend's home. Also, the father of Highland Park shooter Robert Crimo Jr. faced charges after his son was convicted of fatally shooting 7 people to death during a July 4th parade in 2022.
There are no words for the kind of evil that shows up at a public celebration of freedom, hides on a roof, and shoots innocent people with an assault rifle.
At the time of the massacre, the gunman was too young to apply for a firearm license, so his father sponsored his application despite knowing his son had a history of behaving violently and suicide. Several months before the attack, a family member reported to police that the teenager had a large collection of knives and had threatened to kill everyone. He was arrested on December 16, 2022, and faced 7 counts of reckless conduct in relation to the shooting. On February 16, 2023, Crimo Jr. entered a not guilty plea to the charges involving the 2019 acquirement of his son's gun license and was sentenced to 60 days in prison and 2 years of probation.
You understand by entering this plea of guilty today, you're giving up your right to have a trial.
Other instances like that of Deja Taylor, who was sentenced to 2 years after her 6-year-old son shot his teacher in the classroom with a gun he had gotten from home, showed that parents were now going to be held criminally accountable for their child's shooting crimes. With the revelations about Crooks' family, they are likely going to face legal consequences for their son's crime. However, the implications have positives and negatives. In the case of the 3 parents we mentioned, their convictions were deemed a step towards accountability, especially as the guns had been readily accessible to their children. Similarly, this move to blame parents for their children's crimes could also go south. In 2017, Pennsylvania lawmakers reformed the state truancy rules after a Reading County woman, Eileen DiNino, was found dead in 2014 while serving a 2-day jail sentence for her children's truancy because she was unable to pay a $2,000 fine.
I find it absolutely egregious that in the 21st century we're putting a mother behind bars because her children chose not to attend school.
There are debates expressing skepticism about whether this move to...
it is so screwed up in our country right now. They don't prosecute criminals. The people that just the other day were defacing the monuments in Washington and writing Hamas is coming, and assaulting a police officer, lighting the flag on fire, which was a federal flag, by the way. It wasn't their flag, so that's theft of property. They didn't even get charged with any of that. But they put a 75-year-old lady that was praying at a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic, and they put her in jail, 77 years old. I think she is 77, going to jail for 2 years and 2 weeks. So let's all pray for this lady, Lord, that she does not go to jail, that somehow you block this woman from serving her years inside an institution at her age. She might die in there. And let her live with the Lord in peace until you take her home in Jesus' name. Block the plans of the enemy to imprison this lady, and block the FBI from doing that also. It's disgusting. That's why people are sick of our institutions at the moment. They've gotten so corrupt.
Criminally charged parents addressed the root causes underlying the social problems they sought to address. There are also concerns about these laws and long-standing racial disparities in the judicial system. While it is great that parents, especially gun owners, are now being held accountable for their role in gun violence, a lot of low-income black parents will have to bear the brunt of these laws. If anything, punishing parents is no deterrent to juvenile crime. In 1947, after weeks of sleeping outdoors, a 14-year-old stole a gun and shot 3 passers-by. A judge sentenced his obviously troubled mother to prison for a year for failing in the sacred privilege of being a mother and developing in him a pattern of delinquent behavior. With this new move, there may no longer be a differentiation in cases where parents just let their kids run wild and those who had tried but failed to control their children. So far, a look back at history has shown that liability for parents has rarely solved the underlying problem. Obviously, this move would ensure parents pay more attention to their kids, but it does nothing to eradicate the problem completely. There are also questions that even these new legal moves have been unable to answer. When children who become criminals grow up in violent communities, who is really to blame for their actions? At what age are people ultimately responsible for their own behavior? How much control can a parent reasonably exercise over a teenager, especially an older one? In the end, one thing is sure: every move to hold the parents responsible for their child's crimes solves only a minute part of a much bigger problem. The United States of America has struggled to address this problem since long before Crooks's father bought the AR-style rifle 11 years before the assassination.